Hello, leveled up tubers, and welcome back to Let's Play Dragon Quest II with me, BlueAnkylo, along with Rolando and Linda, our three brave heroes. So anyway, you know the gist of Dragon Quest II by now, hopefully. Let me catch you up on what happened between episodes. First and foremost, I leveled up a lot, more than I meant to. Well, more than I thought I would, let's say. I was originally planning on getting Blue to level 30-ish, and maybe 31, 32, and then basically getting Roland to level 30 as an average level and seeing what it looked like. It took a little bit longer to get what I wanted, and to be honest, once you hit level 30, or at least once I hit level 30, stat gains fell to very little. So for Blue and Roland, I think I was at, level 28 or 27 at the end of last episode. We had a couple really good level ups, up for Blue up to level 30, really good level ups with 10 HP and 5 strength kind of thing. And then after that, level 31 to 37 has been a couple points, just a couple stats per level up, kind of like the early levels where you don't get a whole lot. Roland does the same thing. Linda slowed down more around 25. She definitely has a slightly different experience curve. So she got some good stats again for a little while. But once we hit, I think, 25 with her, it started getting minimal returns. That's not to say we have learned all of her spells yet. She did learn the revive spell, maybe outside and revive if she didn't have that last episode. So now the good news is we've got 2 characters that can revive. It's a pretty expensive spell. You don't want to have to use it too many times, but both of them can actually cast that now. And I think we have all of Roland's magic. So he picked up just the sacrifice spell, which is kamikaze. So I believe, if I remember correctly, you kill yourself to deal damage to all the enemy groups, significant damage. It's not a kind of spell I'm going to want to use. Reviving is just very difficult. Linda picked up... Well, she already had exploded at the end of last episode, and we learned revive. I think revive... She learned revive pretty quickly at the end of last episode. I think Chance was level 25, and we still don't have her final actual spell, which... It might even just be something lame like Return, so don't expect too much, but I kind of wanted to get all the magic, and I'm surprised it took such a long time of grinding, and I didn't even get it. I will show off what Chance does, because that's kind of a weird, semi-unique spell. It's in a couple Dragon Quest games, but definitely not all of them. It has kind of a random spell effect to some degree, so that's kind of interesting. But yeah, pretty much all the magic now. And the big thing here, what I spent a lot of time doing was getting that mystery cap for Roland, specifically so he'd have a little bit more defense, and this last little leg of our adventure is really difficult in terms of resources. So running out of MP on the last dungeon is just, well, game over, you gotta restart. So what I did was, the cave to Roan, you know, the big mazy cave to the south of here, on the top 2 floors you can fight a pterodactyl-y, wyvern-y kind of thing. It has to be the top 2 floors. On the lower floors there's another wyvern thing, but it's a different color. So you've got to fight it's like the magic vampirus in this translation. Anyway, I looked it up. It has a 1 in 128 chance of dropping a mystery cap, or mysterious hat, or again, translations are somewhat slightly different. But the mystery cap did drop for me eventually, but it took a very long time. So if you're doing some level grinding at this point in the game, I would suggest grinding there until you get a mystery cap. I think it's slightly faster to grind out here by the save point, where you can just heal up. On the other hand, in the cave, you don't have to come back and rest very often, because you're a lot stronger than the enemies as you get to this point in the game. But getting that cap is a significant boon. And honestly, I'm not even 100% sure if leveling up is faster on this snow terrain, because the demons and stuff out here are... Well, they give you 3 or 4 times the experience, which is helpful, but they also have a relatively high chance of killing you. They have the defeat spell, they've got explode it, they can double hit you for 100 damage or something, so it's more likely you'll spend more time healing out here anyway. The other thing I did was I picked up a couple falcon swords. So the lightning sword is cool and all, it's highest damage weapon that's not cursed, but the falcon sword, assuming it attacks twice and the enemies don't have a ton of defense, it does do more damage. So I'll sort of test it off as we travel. One of the cool things I learned just recently is you can actually change your equipped weapon mid-battle. So you could start with a lightning sword, and then if say you get sap or kasap from the defense decreasing spell, if it hits the enemy, or especially if it hits it twice, then you could switch over to Falcon Sword and probably do considerably more damage. A 0 defense enemy will almost always, I think always, take more damage from the Falcon Sword. Plus, you've got 2 chance at critical hits, and I guess that's about it, basically. But yeah, Lightning Sword against high defense enemies, Falcon Sword against low defense enemies. Now, I did also pick up one for Roland. His stats, because his strength is so much lower, it's a harder sell. A lot of enemies will have enough defense that 92 damage barely does anything. So generally speaking, the Falcon Sword isn't that good. Again, as 0 defense enemy, he'll actually hit it reasonably well twice. But it's less amazing for him than it is for someone with a high base strength. So I think I meant to just briefly show off our stats because we got a bunch of levels up. But yeah, Blue has quite a lot of baseline strength. Now, I did give him some seeds and stuff, of course, so that helps out a bit. But yeah, there's his baseline stats. If you remember the very end of last episode, I showed off what we were at, so you can see how much we grew. Roland, I think at the end of last episode, he did have like 40 strength. Like, he was really weak. So he had a couple really good level ups, getting to 30. So his actual attack power has gone up significantly. He's still pretty weak compared to Blue, but, you know, I mean, he's getting better. And then Linda obviously didn't get very much strength, but her agility went up substantially, and HP MP. She's the MP queen by no mistake. So yeah, that's that. She still has more defense than Roland. It's basically just the Angel Robe is better. But it actually means they have very similar total defense if you just count their other armor. That's strange, because the Power Shield should give substantial amounts of... Oh, it's because she's got 17 more Vitality. So she's got 17 more base defense, which basically makes up for Roland's Power Shield. And then her Robe of Water is like 5 better than the Mink. So that's sort of how that works out. It's kind of disappointing that Roland has the weakest defense as the healer. But you could switch out the robe for the Mink coat and have Roland have that instead of Linda. But the truth is, they both have the revive spell, and we're going to be using a lot of power shield healing anyway, so no one person casting heal is that big a deal. And to be honest, Linda has heal all, which is a stronger heal anyway, so, you know. And they both have the mystery cap, so they both get decreased MP costs. So anyway, that's it. I did spend a little bit of time, well, to be fair, I did pick up, I brought along a Sword of Destruction and Devil's Armor for Roland. I'm probably not going to use them, but his damage would be significantly better with the Sword of Destruction if you want. The trouble is, once you equip it, you're cursed. You can't switch out to the other weapons, so it's kind of a one-shot deal. And, I mean, I think even a 0 defense enemy would take more damage from the Sword of Destruction. I sort of hinted at it earlier, but this weapon, it has a hidden bonus effect, I believe. I haven't actually 100% looked it up, but I'm pretty sure it also has a higher crit chance than other weapons. So like a light sword, you'll probably have like a 1 in 16 or 1 in 32, some kind of number like that. Falcon Sword is the same, but you get 2 chances, so that increases your odds. And Sword of Destruction, you just get 1 chance, but it's probably like 2 or 3 times, or maybe even 4 times more critically, which is cool. So, you know, you probably get more damage out of Roland with that. But then again, you might miss 1 in 4 actions anyway, which sucks. And then, of course, if I did go with that, we could get him enough defense. We could get a plus 30 defense, or almost plus 30. So, you know, that would be an option. You could give him the Devil's Armor Destruction Sword. He'd have a lot better defense and attack, but he'd miss out on, I think it's 25% of his turns. And I mean, again, I could use more testing, but I think it freezes him on spellcasting as well as physical attacks. So missing out on an important revive or some spell in battle would really suck. Anyway, we spent like 9 minutes recapping. Let's just get a move on here. So I am still not 100% convinced we're gonna win on this level. We might still need more level grinding, but I've done enough off camera that I wanted to show you how things are looking. Basically, so interestingly enough, Gigantes have very low defense. Like, they have tons of HP, but very, very low defense. So they are a good target for Falcon Swords as a general rule. And so that's handy. So we'll show that off here. That's the re-equipping mid-battle. And I got a crit on the second. So like I was saying, it's pretty cool that you can do stuff like that. I believe the the Blizzards don't have too much defense, but more than a Gigantes. So you see them not going down as easily. But for blue, the Falcon Sword is often the better weapon. It's just for Roland, it's generally not. So I just figured I'd show it off. If you really want to min-max, you probably want to switch back and forth between the Thunder Sword and the Falcon Blade. Like, against this guy, he's got a ton of physical defense. So, basically, against him, you almost certainly want to switch back to your primary damage-dealing weapons. And actually, even more than that, you kind of want to try to stop spell him. It does work on these guys a fair bit. Or if we could get him stop spelled or sleeped would work. Now, the odds of it are what they are, but we managed to block his spells there. He still can breeze fire, which, you know, that hurts. But he can't use Explode It, or... I think one of the enemies around here has a straight-up death spell, like the defeat spell, I think when I undid Roland's turn, he went back to the Falcon Blade. Yeah, good. So we blocked and Exploded, so stop spell, you know, proving its value. I'm still just sort of learning how the mechanics for switching weapons in battle works. I haven't really tried it very much yet, so it's kind of new for me. So yeah, again, it certainly speeds things up to kill Gigantes. Now, I still don't know the most efficient way to deal with Blizzards. Honestly, Explode It seems to have a relatively good chance of hitting them. And I should show off Chance just for fun. It's really expensive, and it's bad if you're... Well, see, the problem with Chance is it's so expensive, and it can do essentially nothing. And because we're on a potential run to kill the final boss, I don't really like wasting our MP on it. So that's kind of a downside. We're trying to be... Like, almost the most important thing about trying to finish this game is not wasting all your MP. So, it's a distinction between whether or not you want to use spells... to prevent taking damage, so you don't have to use healing, or just attacking to, like, what's the most efficient way to win a battle? Running away, melee attacks, magic attacks, status effects. The end goal should always be, how will you win this battle by using the least amount of MP? Because essentially MP translates to HP, so same difference. And, of course, dying is totally off the table, because reviving is very expensive. So I remember, like, it was a lot harder on the NES, of course, but even still, I did have a quick dip into this castle off camera, because there's another enemy in here that could have dropped the mystery cap, but he's a lot further down. Like, you have to go a long way from the safe town to even run into him, and so he's quite a far way into the dungeon, and he's really tough. Like, he's not a regular encounter. Well, I mean, he's not that rare. He's not a rare encounter, but he's on a floor with very difficult enemies. And although you get a lot of experience, if you win, you'll probably die. So grinding in this tower, I would not recommend. Grinding either on the overworld, in the snow area, or back in the cave is probably my recommendation. So anyway, with that, we're pretty much as far as we got last episode, as far as dungeon diving. It's not terribly hard to get here, although we did get a little bit lucky that we didn't run into too many random encounters on the walkover. But anyway, this is where the battles start to get serious. This is a certainly not too difficult battle, but as we work our way up the tower, we're going to find some truly unfair enemies. Oh, I should definitely not have used Falcon Blades against the Hunter Killer. That was a huge mistake. Way too much defense. We still actually managed... Like, blue with the Falcon Blade isn't bad. Like, it might be better to leave him on Falcon Blade in general, unless you're fighting something that you know has a ton of defense. But Roland just can't... You know, the enemy's defense just blocks out his damage too much. But yeah, blue Falcon Blade, probably better than Thunder most of the time at this level. But again, remember, when I say that, I mean if you level up and get a lot of strength. If you don't have... Like, if you're like 30 strength less, I think the Thunder Blade's probably better most of the time. And still depends on what you're fighting. If you can use sap on an enemy, then the Falcon Blade will always be better. And in case you're wondering, it's back at the Water Wheel Town. So if you want to go pick up a Falcon Blade, you've got to go up the river network to get to the Water Wheel, the Water Gate Town, whatever it's called. So I'm hoping we can kill the Demon Priest. I looked up some of these enemies that are really dangerous, like Demon Priests, and they're very, very immune to status effects. Like, one of the difficulties with this area is the new enemies for this tower, so not the Gigantes, but the new enemies like this thing, the Demon Priest, and, well, you'll see. A lot of the new enemies in here are very much either completely or nearly immune to most spells. So you're not going to be putting them to sleep, stop spelling them, or anything. You just have to try to kill them. Oops, that's the wrong shield. You're not going to be able to kill them easily. And that means you're going to probably want to focus your energies more on buffing the party, or just trying to rush them down with big hits. And I do think it's generally a good strategy for this dungeon to pretty much try to end every battle as close to full HP as you can. Because the next battle could be your last. And, especially if you can get, like, a Gigantes surrounded. I think he's got a... I don't know what his odds of hitting us are, but small enough that we can spend a turn to heal everybody up before we finish him off, basically. So, bear with me as we work our way up the tower. So far, the fights haven't been too deadly. I mean, the exploding Demon Priest mage is a real jerk. Oh, look, metal baubles. We could try. I'm going to still focus the Gigantes down first, but they'll probably just run away before we can get to them. Yeah, I mean, that's what usually happens. To be fair, two characters with Falcon Blades have a reasonably good chance of killing them in a couple turns. It's just, they still like to run away anyway, so you have better odds with Falcon, but you still miss, they still run. Alright, I still think we want to focus the Demon Priest down, hopefully kill it before it casts the worst... Oh, that was the wrong spell, I meant to surround. That was a mistake. But luckily, Roland and Blue got to kill the Demon Priest really quickly, so that was nice, and if I had just used surround properly for 1 MP, we would have had a nice easy fight. So yeah, getting those levels up, the speed upgrades, like the agility, actually make... I don't know if it's the biggest difference, but it's a huge difference for being able to go before an enemy like a Demon Priest. We didn't get Roland's healing off, oh well. You know, the chance of skipping one Explodette or Dragon Breath or whatever they, you know, all their special attacks. That makes a pretty big difference, because that's like 40, 50, 60 damage to the entire party you might avoid just by being faster. Most of the game, agility hasn't mattered very much, but in this final dungeon, like, take everything you can get, every little advantage. Okay, I did get to this floor, because this is the floor, I did this off camera just to experiment. This is the floor that has the enemy that can drop the mystery cap, but I'll explore it once again with you guys just so you can see what it looks like. May as well. It's not very big. There's a bunch of these sort of empty rooms, and then there's one that you can't walk into. And, of course, it has the stairs, but is there any treasure? No, there is not. No treasure. So, this is as far as I've gotten. This floor has... Oh, I forget the name of the monster. If we run into one, I think from here on out we have a chance of running into them. In fact, we're high enough now that we need to start battles at full strength. This is essentially that last floor, and this one is where the enemies sort of get upgraded. Just like the top of the Cave to Roan. Enemies start getting real serious around here. So let's see what we get. Oh good, a Veliar. Also Belial in other translations. This was as far as I got last time before I quit. Because this guy is friggin' cheap. I don't think you can hit him with any status effects. He gets generally 2 attacks per round. And he has some truly terrible spells. So we're going to go increase and decrease, because I don't think we can sleep, surround, stop spell him, or any of that. We can sap him, because it works, I think. And we can increase our defense. But there's not much else. We don't have any protection from breath weapons. And actually, he resisted defense there. Which sucks. But if we go double increase on us, we'll be pretty protected from his physical hits, but he has a lot of spells, so yeah. So our defense is maxed out now with 2, and we failed sap twice in a row. Here I go saying that it'll work on everything. No, a lot of enemies in this dungeon are just going to be immune to whatever you try to do. I think we better spend some time healing here. Yeah, because he's just going to keep doing Explodettes. Now that power shield is just... almost overpowered how good it is for free healing. I'm going to keep trying to reduce his defense, because there's kind of a problem. He has the heal all spell, and it just hasn't worked yet. So, the problem I have is that if we just deal damage to him normally, if we can't kill him quick enough, also he blocks a lot of attacks, he will just straight up heal himself to max, which is pretty brutal. I mean, we could try a stop spell. I think when I looked it up, he was completely immune to stop spell. And it looks like he's probably completely immune to sap. So, like, this guy is just the worst, guys. I don't know what else to say other than he's the worst. There would be a way to bypass those protections. I was reading a little bit about it. If you wanted to use this chance spell, it has a chance of casting sap. If it casts sap, it actually bypasses the enemy's resistance to it. But it's very expensive, and there's no guarantee you get the spell you want. Yeah, I was hoping the light sword might have a chance of working, but I don't think it has the same effect as how the chance spell does. So, unfortunately, we're not in a very strong position in this fight, because I feel like he's probably immune to basically every spell we've got. And he can just cast Explode at every turn. And if I focus on damage dealing, people will die. But I think in this situation we have to go, because he's got so much defense and I can't seem to sap him, I think we have to switch to our damage dealing weapons. And Linda won't be able to deal any damage to him at all. I mean, she can just keep trying to sap him, but there's not much else she can do. There's his heal all. So without sapping him, I'm not actually 100% sure how we're going to kill him. Now, I'm at a much higher level than I was the last time I fought him. But he's still, like, he's got, I think, I looked it up, he's got like 350 or 400 HP. And he can just heal all anytime he wants. So, like, he's got infinite MP. So I guess with Blue and Roland attacking every round, we can do a little over 100 damage. If we can get enough attacks in a row without him using Explode It, so we have to heal, then I guess we're okay. But, like, we need every bit of damage we can get just to kill this guy. So, there we go. We managed to get him. He didn't use Heal All. Well, that's one mini-boss down. So the enemies on this floor are all just about as bad as this guy. I think... Oh, it's the open spell. That's clever. So why would we... Oh, you know what that does? That means you don't have to carry around all those keys. This spell will let you open doors. That's right. Very handy, but you have to get all the way to level 29. See, I wasn't really over-leveled. I just got to the level where you finally learn your last spell. Okay, well, that was good. Glad you guys got to see that. That fight is pretty rough, though. He actually has more HP in the Super Nintendo remake than he did in the Super NES version. Alright, well, we've still got a good amount of MP total. I could use a couple prayer rings to recover a little bit of MP. You know, we really didn't have any random encounters the last two floors. We got really lucky for encounter rates. I didn't bring any herbs or anything. Let me just start with Blue at full strength. We'll use Linda's MP because she's got a bit more. Is there anyone else that's... I think everyone's pretty close to full. I don't want to be like 100%, but I want to be pretty close. 100%. 100%. Okay, good enough. We're just a little bit low on MP. I'm going to put a save in just because I think we actually had a really lucky run up. We could have run into a lot of worse encounters that would have forced us to burn a lot more MP. So let's just do this. Let's do this thing, everybody. Who's there? Who's disturbing my prayer? Foolish people, don't you know that it is I, the evil priest Hargon? We do know who you are. If that is so, then there is no forgiveness. You will soon realize your stupidity. Time for boss fight. No special boss music, which is suspicious. So, Hargon, I don't remember anything about this guy, other than you can see him on the side of the screen as the main antagonist of this game. I would expect stop spell's not going to work, but increase would be nice. I sure miss the future Dragon Quests where you have the ability to cast Insulate, which protects you from breath attacks. Those kinds of things are so nice on these final bosses. So he gets 2 physical attacks. That's pretty brutal. He seemed to not be affected by sap, which is stupid. The spell's supposed to work. But, we'll focus on keeping healed for now. Explode it. Now, I'm hoping he can't do 2 explode it's in a single turn. But we are double buffed, or increased our health. So we're in a pretty good position. If we can't decrease his armor, then switching to Falcon Blade might not be really worth it. Staying on top of our health is probably the most important thing. Blue can attack, Roland can power shield, Linda can just keep power shielding. She doesn't have enough spare HP. So heal more isn't so bad. He heals himself like 70 or 80, but we can deal that much damage, so that's okay. Maybe we'll have Roland doesn't really deal very much damage, so maybe he'll heal Blue and we'll hope. I wonder if it's like 1 in 7 or 2 in 7 chances. The resistances for enemies in this game are all a divisor of 7, so it could be 0 to 7 to 7 out of 7. Like Metal Slime is always 7 out of 7 for all resistances. I bet you he's not 100% defensive, but if it would hit, then we could do so much more damage. And you know, I should test out if the Falcon Blade would be effective. We've been doing about 85 damage per hit with the lightning sword. Even without defense down, this might be slightly better. Nope, definitely not. So we get slightly more damage, similar but slightly more out of the Thunder Blade. That's fine. He is just exploding us like mad. I am gonna use heal more. I think basically we want Blue to attack every round if possible, because he's the only one dealing real damage. And then we'll let Linda and Rolla... Oh, we got him. Easy! We'll just let Linda and Rolla heal while Blue does the damage. We got him. Good stuff. So easy. Such an easy game. I've been defeated. Soon you will meet your end. Just as I have. Even though you have defeated me, you still will not have the world. Save the world. Whatever. Oh, God of destruction, Malroth. I sacrifice myself to you. Now come forth. Ugh. There's no such thing as Malroth. You're making up names. There's nothing. I don't want... No, I don't want to. Well, guys. As established in Dragon Quest I, the final boss always has a second form. Even if it's another demon. And not just a Dragon Lord. And it just gets worse the further down the line we go. Everyone say hello to... His name's actually Malroth. I don't know why they'd call him Shidor. Now we get the boss music. Alright. So, same basic plan. I think he's got better stats overall, so probably more defense and more attack. So definitely want to get increase on immediately. And, it might be worth blowing through some chances to try to get the defense down, honestly. But I'll try a couple normal defense downs first. Oh, it does work! He's at least not 100% immune to it. Well, that is very fortuitous. So now we can switch to the Falcon Blade for sure. One more casting of increase, so we'll be maxed out defense. If I can minimize his defense to 0, that would be amazing. Okay, we got this. Now, what did he just do? I don't know what he did. Violent place. Oh, sheesh. Linda's always going to go first, right? She's fast. I can ignore Blue healing himself. We can heal all here for like almost 200 HP. That's why you want Linda to have lots of levels, so she can go before the boss. So we're doing 150 damage per round with Blue. Maybe he casts... So bosses often have an ability to remove your buffs. I have a feeling that may be what he did to Linda, where he removed our increase buff, our buff spell, the defense up. I'm going to try to save a little bit of MP by using Power Shield. Oh no, we're still at max HP, or max defense. He just does a ridiculous amount of damage. That's fine. Blue with the buffed, well, there is actually a spell called Oomph that would increase our damage even further. Not in this game though, sadly. But yeah, with the boss's defense at 0, Falcon Blade BlueAnkylo is gonna just crush him. So I'm happy about that. Although not everything is as it seems. We're not quite free yet. I wonder if you could stop spell him. He has some really bad spells. Enough that can make this fight nearly impossible. 88, 78, no stop spell. Oh, freak, that was so much damage. Like 90 damage was that? Well, that's why we have a lot of MP for revive, so that's fine. Make sure you level up Linda far enough to get revive or you're screwed. Also, I probably should have put the Yggdrasil leaf on blue, so that if both healers go down... Oh, there he goes. He increased his own defense. That's okay, we can undo that. Let's try to keep people topped up a little bit higher. And I'll try to reduce his defense to 0 again. That's fine. If he can cast a spell, he's just wasting a turn. That's no... I don't care, that's perfect. Sure, we do a lot less damage for a round, but he is wasting his time by doing that. Alright, so we're at... Actually, I think when you die, you probably lose your defense buff. I mean, that's how it usually works. So we minimize defense to 0. Actually, no, it looks like your defense buff remains even after you die and get revived. That's convenient. It's not always true in these kinds of games. So that's good. Let's do a healing round. Oh, there he goes. Now he casts Sap. That's okay. Honestly, when he does increase or decrease, he's kind of wasting a turn. Because we can cast it for 1 MP. It's way more powerful when he does his fancy 90 damage breath attack. So speaking of that, let's try to keep Blue up at full strength. I tried, guys. I tried. He still managed to get 2 attacks and kill Blue dead. Like I said, this guy is a big fat jerk. I guess with no one needing healing, with 0 defense, even Roland can probably dish out some decent damage, and then Linda can focus on the revive. Alright, Roland does, you know, substantial amount of damage, honestly. With nothing specifically to do, Roland can just attack while Linda handles the heals. Until she runs out of MP, at least. And this will definitely increase our damage output. We'll be able to do... What's that, 150 or so, plus another 90, maybe? You know, if we can do, like, almost 250 damage per round, that's good. Oh, one other thing to remember. I don't know for sure, so don't quote me. But final bosses in the NES Dragon Warrior games, and the remakes, very regularly have regeneration. So, the more damage you can dish out per turn, the better, because it's fairly likely they're regenerating 50 HP per turn. So, the difference between doing 100 damage a round and 150 damage a round is actually quite substantial, because that's actually 50 versus 100. And he's dead! Alright, well the leveling worked well. Unless he's got another form. Maybe we were slightly over-leveled. Maybe I just took advantage of buff and debuff enough. A beautiful voice is heard out of nowhere. The god of destruction, Malroth, has been destroyed. Once again, peace has returned. Up until now, I have been watching, always been watching over you. The gods have renewed all life. May the light shine upon thee and thy descendants. Now go. And his entire castle explodes. Goodbye, Malroth Castle. And that's it. I mean, we don't get an Orb of Light this time. So yeah, you know what? Honestly, I think we got kind of lucky on a few situations. Malroth has the Heal All spell, so he could have cast Heal All, and the longer that goes on, the worse it gets, because you start running low on MP, and he's got quite a lot of HP. But the double Sap, double Falcon Blade strategy worked out phenomenally, and we were dealing a lot of damage. So even if he was regenerating, we were dealing enough damage that he couldn't really keep up. And obviously, he killed a couple people, so you've got to be a high enough level to have Revive on both your mages. But I guess you could probably have done that maybe 4 or 5 levels lower without too much risk. But like I said, I think we were still a little bit lucky in a few random areas for random battles not being too bad, and the Heal All not necessarily... I think he has Heal All, I'm pretty sure. Or no, No, the first version had heal more, and he cast it once, but I think the second version had heal all. Or, normally. Oh, Blue, you are truly wonderful. The evil gods have been destroyed, and soon now will be completely gone from the land of Rome. For a long time, I've watched over the fate of the people, like the 2 humans that live here. This role has come to an end, and now I bid you farewell. Oh gods, always watch over the descendants of the legendary hero, Erdrick. Now then go, everyone will be waiting. Blue, Roland, Linda! Thanks to you, the people have been saved. Thanks to you, the people have been saved, I said. Thank you. Oh no, please don't. No! No infinite loops! Look, guys, we won. Truth is, we won. And then we were slain by a translating glitch. I can't friggin' believe it. I'm sure I didn't save it after the boss either, did I? It's a good game, guys. It's a good game. I'll be back. I'm just gonna go fight the boss again off camera. And save it before I talk to anybody, clearly. Why would that be a thing? Did nobody playtest this fan translation? This is not a new fan translation. It's like 10 years old. It's two. Alright, guys. I'll be right back. Sorry. You be sorry for me. I'm the one that has to fight the boss again and get lucky. Look, I'm way back here. I have to fight him again. I'll see you in a minute.